The NBA season is finally here. College basketball is also right around the corner. So you know what that means. We are going to start off the season with my first mock draft with all these rosters finalized. I think the toughest part about a mock draft right now is figuring out what teams have what picks, as there's about 16 picks right now that are owned directly. The other 14 have some type of swap, protection, or trade to it. So in this mock, we're gonna see a bunch of teams have multiple draft picks. And the order of this mock is just going on finals odds right now by a sports book. Obviously, a lot is gonna change throughout the course of this regular season, because if you watched my first mock draft last year, some of those players will not even be in the draft this upcoming season. So let's just start things off easy. 1.1, the Brooklyn Nets, they are going to be the worst team in the league this year, in my opinion. Vegas thinks so as well. So that means they are getting Cooper Flagg out of Duke. Cooper Flagg reclassified into this class. So he's going to start off his NBA career as an 18-year-old. He was the #1 high school recruit. He's going to Duke. All eyes are going to be on Flagg this year, who showed out for Team USA on the select scrimmage squad last summer and put LeBron, Curry, Tatum, and those guys to the test during those scrimmages. He's going to be an elite defensive prospect. I am so excited to see how he plays at Duke this season, both on ball and off the ball defensively. And his motor, his drive, and his athleticism should propel him to being a plus offensive player this year. Something I do want to keep my eye on is his shot. It's a funky release. How is it going to be over the course of this season? But either way, right now, he's the clear 1.1 in this draft. So coming in at number 2, the Washington Wizards are going to be selecting Ace Bailey out of Rutgers. Now, I just got done watching the charity game between them and St. John's, and wow, Ace Bailey can make some NBA level shots right now. He's insanely athletic. He can get downhill. He's a great on-ball defender already. He takes some tough shots. You may be like, why are you taking that right now? But he hits them. That's something he's definitely gonna have to work on. But being able to hit these contested jumpers at this age is so incredible, and I think he's gonna be a top 3 pick in this draft. Coming in at number 3 is Ace Bailey's teammate at Rutgers, Dylan Harper. I have him going to the Portland Trailblazers here because he could be a point guard or he could be a shooting guard, and I think that'd be a perfect complementary piece to Scoot Henderson for the next 10 plus years, because I don't think Anthony Simons has a super long-term fit on this roster, and I think Shaedon Sharpe could be more of a small forward, Denny more of a power forward, and Dylan Harper, who I think needs to work on his passing just a little bit this year at Rutgers, could be a great combo guard for Portland, because I do think he has good vision and good playmaking ability right now, but I'd like to just see that fill out over the course of this year's Big Ten season. Coming in at number 4, I have Detroit selecting the Baylor kid, VJ Edgecombe, and I think this would be a perfect fit for the Detroit Pistons, especially if VJ Edgecombe shows plus shooting ability this year, because in that backcourt, I mean, Jaden Ivey's had a great preseason so far, and you're hoping that him and Cade Cunningham could still be your long-term backcourt. Asor Thompson is a great defensive rebounding wing, but I think you can maybe eventually move him to the power forward position. You have Jalen Duren. I think Edgecombe could be a great small forward next to Cade and Ivey in that backcourt, because he has 3-level scoring potential. He can hit threes, get to the rim, and I think could have a good mid-range jumper as well. I'm excited to watch him this season. Coming in at number 5, I think this is the clear top 5 going to this season. I have the Utah Jazz selecting Nolan Traore out of France. He's playing for St. Quentin right now in France, and Traore has definitely been a little bit inconsistent, but this guy's a teenager going up against grown men. He'll have games where he'll score 25 points, get 8 assists, and shoot 42% from 3, but then he'll have other games where he gets 6 points, shoots 20% from the field, and will have multiple turnovers. So it's definitely been inconsistent for Traore right now, but he could definitely go up with Dylan Harper to be the best guard from this draft class, and that's something we haven't had in quite some time. So the guard battle between those two is going to be a lot of fun to evaluate this season. Coming in at number 6, I have the Chicago Bulls taking Kasparas Jakushanis from Illinois, and you may be like, Matt, who is that? Well, he's a 6'5 guard coming over from Lithuania, and I think he's going to put on a show this year for Illinois because he's extremely polished as a prospect, going up against way better competition overseas, and he had a terrific under-18 squad campaign with Lithuania this past summer. I think he's going to look like a seasoned veteran for Illinois this year, and I think for Chicago, who definitely has some guard questions, there's a Kobe White or Ira Dosunmu extension on the horizon. Will those happen? Josh Giddey's going to be a free agent. I know they may target a center. I just don't know if there's going to be a good enough one at this pick yet. So for now, I'm gonna have them go Kasparas Jakushanis, who can kind of be a Swiss Army knife for them. Number 7, we have another riser here going to the Toronto Raptors, and that is going to be Ben Seraph. He plays at Ratio Farm, which is Killian Hayes' alma mater, but obviously they've been somewhat of an NBA factory over there. And like I said, Seraph has been a riser throughout this summer and his season with Ratio. When he was playing for Israel in the under-18 championships, he averaged 28 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists throughout that tournament, and also had multiple 40-point performances. He looks like a crafty wing/guard that could facilitate 6'8", play make for an offense, but also score in multiple ways. For the Charlotte Hornets at number 8, I do have Liam McNeely of the UConn Huskies. Liam McNeely just spent this past season playing for Montverde Academy, the best high school basketball team, with Cooper Flagg and some other players that we'll talk about. And he's going to be such a good off-ball shooter for UConn this year. I'm so excited to watch him in the Dan Early offense. I think he's going to excel there and made the right decision, decommitting from Indiana to go to UConn. And I think Charlotte could definitely use another floor spacer that could be a shooting guard, small forward, or power forward next to Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball long term. Coming in at number 9, so this is our first switch up with picks. We do have the Atlanta Hawks, but this is going to go to San Antonio from the DeJounte Murray trade. And I'm going to have Trey Johnson out of Texas here. Johnson is a 6'5" wing. He's 19 years old, and I'm very excited to watch him play this year for the Longhorns because I think he could be someone that could excel to possibly being a top 5 pick, or he could fall out completely and may not even be in the 2025 draft. People downplay his athleticism a little bit, but he has long arms, and I think he's going to be a good defender this year for Texas. We'll just see how consistent the shot is. And back-to-back picks here. We have San Antonio at number 10. This is their pick, and they're going to be getting Igor Demon out of BYU. Like Kasper Shakushanas, Demon is coming overseas here to play collegiate basketball, which was kind of a surprise. Kevin Young, the BYU coach, who was the former Phoenix Suns coach, convinced them to come over. And there's a lot of potential in Demon's game. It looks like he could be a 6'8" playmaking point guard. And if that goes well this year for BYU, there's going to be a lot of appeal to taking him in the top 10. At number 11, this is Oklahoma City, but this is via the LA Clippers. And who knows, with the Kawhi Leonard injury, this could be even a better pick come draft time. And I'm going to have them select Colin Murray Boyles out of South Carolina. Murray Boyles is the first non-freshman we're going to be talking about. He played last year for the Gamecocks, and his appeal is defense right now. He can guard multiple positions on the floor, and that could be exactly what OKC is looking for on a cheaper rookie contract. At number 12 here is going to be the Atlanta Hawks, but this is from the LA Lakers, the pick they got from the Pelicans in the DeJounte Murray trade, and the Pelicans got that pick from the Anthony Davis trade back in 2019, so it's finally coming full circle. And I'm going to have Atlanta take Con Knippel out of Duke. Knippel gets overlooked a little bit because he's going to be playing with Cooper Flagg this year, so all eyes are on Flagg, but Knippel could definitely play his way into being a lottery pick because he could be an elite three-point shooter for Duke this season, and also a crafty scorer within the three-point line. At number 13 here, I have OKC again. This pick is from Houston from the Russell Westbrook Chris Paul trade back in 2019. And I'm going to have them take Kaman Mulach out of Duke. He's going to be a very polarizing prospect this year. Yeah, that's the third Duke prospect here in the top 14. Kaman definitely feels a little bit clumsy right now, but he's extremely young. He's a teenager, but showed out for South Sudan in the Olympics this summer. He's going to be playing at Duke this year. It's a big year for him developmentally, and I think he could be as high as number 6 to Chicago, but there's also a way that he is just not a first-round pick. But who knows? Based off potential alone, because he could be an elite shot blocker, maybe he's just going to be a first-round pick. So coming in at number 14, I have the Miami Heat. Now, if they make the playoffs, this pick goes to OKC, but title odds have him here at 14, and I'm going to have them select Hugo Gonzalez out of Spain. He's looked like a great defender so far for Real Madrid, but he definitely needs to become more consistent shooter if he wants to be a lottery pick, but I feel like he's just going to fit the Miami Heat mold. Coming in at number 15, I have the Golden State Warriors selecting Joel Bethea out of Miami. He's a terrific shot maker, and he's one of the best scorers in this draft class right now. Going to be a big player for the Hurricanes this season. At 16, I'm going to have the Pelicans take another center. They took Yves Missi in the 2024 draft. I'm going to have them take the second-ranked center right now, Rocco Sikorsky, who's playing for the Brisbane Bullets over in the NBL, the same league that Alex Sarr came from last year. Sikorsky is a very intriguing prospect as he moves extremely well for a 7'3" center. I think he could be a phenomenal shot blocker, and inside presence at the NBA level would be big for the Pelicans long term. At 17, I have the Atlanta Hawks selecting, and this pick is going to be from the Sacramento Kings, which dates back to the Kevin Huerter trade from a couple off seasons ago. I'm going to have them take the first Tar Heel off the board, Drake Powell. So you may think this is a little bit low for Drake Powell, and I could see that, but he's going to be behind RJ Davis, Seth Trimble, Cade Tyson, and maybe even Elliot Cadeau in the scoring pecking order. And who knows about that other UNC freshman that we'll get to in a little bit. But Powell is a 6'6" wing. He's got long arms, and he's got great two-way upside right now. I'm very excited to watch the Tar Heels finally have some first-round prospects again. So we're going to be talking about that other Tar Heel prospect a lot sooner. It's going to be Ian Jackson going to the Memphis Grizzlies here at number 18. I think he can fit that GG Jackson mold that they loved a couple years ago out of South Carolina. He's an extremely aggressive offensive player, and he brings high-level intensity to the defensive side of the floor, and I feel like Memphis is going to love that. At 19, I have Indiana going with Boogie Flan, someone I think could be a point guard, maybe even a shooting guard in a pinch, but definitely more of a one. He's going to be at Arkansas this year, and I think he's going to be a draft riser. I think he's going to really elevate his draft stock, and the Pacers could mold Boogie Flynn to being that TJ McConnell replacement in a few years down the line. At 20 here, I have Orlando selecting Donnie Freeman out of Syracuse. He wasn't a big high school recruit till later in his season, and he was very skinny in high school, but he's put on some weight, he's becoming more explosive, and he could be the first Syracuse first round pick since Tyler Lydon back in 2017. At number 21, I have the Utah Jazz selecting here, but via the Cleveland Cavaliers from the Donovan Mitchell trade, and they're going to be getting JT Toppin out of Texas Tech. He played at New Mexico last year. He could have been a first round pick in the draft, but he decided to transfer, and he's going to be a big player for the Red Raiders this season. At 22, I have Dallas selecting Michael Ruzic out of Spain. He's definitely a raw prospect right now and has a lot of room for growth because he's only 18 years old, he's 6'10", and he has some floor spacing potential. At 23, I have Houston selecting here via Phoenix, and this is going to be Ding Pate from the Mexico City G League team. He's a 6'6" guard, still a teenager, and I think he's going to be a great defender at the NBA level, and he's also a really good off-ball player when it comes to slashing and cutting. At 24, I have the Orlando Magic via Denver, their second first round pick here, selecting Kwame Evans out of Oregon, and if he can develop somewhat of a jumper this year for the Ducks, he's going to be a great two-way prospect. At 25, this is Brooklyn via Milwaukee. They got this pick in the Mikal Bridges trade from the Knicks, and this is going to be Alex Caravan from UConn. As Caravan could have been a first round pick in last year's draft, phenomenal off-ball player, one of the smartest cutters in all of college basketball, maybe the smartest one in that aspect, and oh yeah, an elite three-point shooter as well. Brooklyn can use that as the Cam Johnson replacement down the line. At 26, OKC has another first round pick. This one is via Philadelphia, and they're going to be getting Hunter Salas out of Wake Forest. Like Caravan, Salas could have been a first round pick in last year's draft as well. He decided to return to college basketball, play for Wake Forest again. He could dribble, defend, pass, and shoot. Could be a good combo guard for OKC. At 27, Utah is going to be picking here from Minnesota. This is from the Rudy Gobert trade, and I have them selecting Noah Essengay from Ratio Farm, as he's on the same team with Ben Seraph, who we talked about earlier. And Essengay, definitely a raw prospect right now, needs to develop his feel for his game, know where to be on the floor, but I think he's a pretty good cutter and off-ball player for his age right now. At 28, I have Brooklyn selecting, again, this one is from the New York Knicks from the Bridges trade, and I have them selecting Asa Newell from Georgia. I'm lower on Newell right now, but he could definitely elevate his draft stock this year with the Bulldogs, as he's a 6'9" big man, played at Mount Vernon last year with Wayne McNeely and Cooper Flagg, and he's got a great touch around the rim. At 29, Brooklyn is picking again. This pick is from OKC in a couple swaps, and I have them selecting Mark Sears out of Alabama. A little bit undersized at 6'1", but man, he plays tough, and he's going to get a lot of comparisons to Jalen Brunson. He could have been a top 45 pick last year as well. We'll see how he plays this year for one of the best teams in the country. And lastly, I have Boston at 30 selecting Cam Jones out of Marquette, who fits the mold of these older prospects they've been taking as of late, like Baylor Shireman in last year's draft. So that is going to be for me. I hope you guys enjoyed my mock draft 1.0. If you did, I would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this draft class. We'll definitely do a bunch of mocks throughout the season. Either it correlates something that happens in the NBA season, like the trade deadline, or something in college basketball, like March Madness. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I love you guys. Subscribe if you are not already for more draft content all season long, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.